This is always unusual. This is the second version of this because on my first one, evidently the microphone didn't work. So I'm going to check and see if this is, my name's Catherine, and I evidently bought a new microphone setup that didn't work very well with my new camera. And that's kind of embarrassing because I usually am known as the tech goddess. And it's good, it's okay to have these sort of things fail once in a while. So there's no viewers at the moment. I'm going to see if there's a way I can hear myself. Ooh, I know how. I could join online with my iPod and see if it's playing on here, which is kind of interesting because I've never done that before, where it's a Google Hangout watching a Google Hangout. The other thing I can do is go back and listen to the sound on YouTube. For right now, I'm feeling kind of embarrassed, but I will survive. Go back to the original one here. Okay, so I'm back on the original Google Hangout at 1:39. Okay, but let's see if there's anyone. Okay, this means that someone's hearing me. I see that on there. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Wow. Okay, so here's my question. Do you want me to start over again? Or should I continue where I was? I can work the videos out later. I'm going to wait for an answer on that one because it does help. It does help if you give me a clue where I should go with this. Somebody sent me a message. Okay. Okay, let's see if the chat box is open. Yeah, I know it's kind of strange just sitting here watching me chat by myself, but let's see if that worked. Should I start over? Okay, I will start over because I do want you to have the full event. Okay, thank you. What's your first name? Maybe I could call you something. I can't figure out how to say your last name, so I will do that as soon as we get going. So I'm starting again. Hi, welcome. My name is Catherine Rousselin, and I'm a French teacher in Mount Vernon, Washington, but I live in Bellingham, which is Canada's right over there. I'm at the very top of the Puget Sound. I am the American Association for Teachers of French Technology Commission. I'm the chairperson, which is kind of funny because if you were watching my last video, you noticed that I didn't have a microphone, so I've got hopefully everything taken care of. We're going to be talking today about using Google Forms to help our students create stories with that sort of a MadLib touch to them. And I like the MadLibs because I remember doing them as a kid, 5th grade, walking with my friends to school or on the bus. We do them and we try to make them as naughty as possible. I like that. It was something I like to do because the stories were easy to build. All I had to do was fill in one word. Most of our students who are at the novice, so novice low, novice mid, are in the one-word section. Now, we can also make these more challenging for our intermediate students. We're going to do that when we have multiple choice type questions, or we can do fill in the blank type of questions, which is normal for the typical MadLibs. And I'll seem a little flustered because this was my second go-around of the presentation. I have 2 viewers now. Thank you for rejoining back. Thank you. When we use MadLibs, we're giving our students a chance to be sort of in control of what they're producing. They can't write a whole story, especially at the novice low. Maybe they can if they're using a certain method. But I want them to feel like they've got choice and voice over the options in their story. So I'm going to make a template for them. I'm going to give them options, and then they're going to have the opportunity just to go through a Google form and choose what they want. And then what the nice thing about Google Forms is you can put on an add-on named Autocrat. It's AUTOCRAT, and that allows a merge to happen. what was on the Google form with your template. Your answers come together, and then the email will come to the students with their complete story. And I'm going to show you what that looks like. I did a lot of this in the first video, and I'm just going to kind of go through this quickly because we don't want to start all the way over. So I showed you at the beginning the original one I made the other day, and I posted on teachers, French teachers in the US. And that one was about going to the zoo. Okay, so here is the form when I built it. So I put that in there. I built a Google form. And then when I sent this out to everyone, this is what they saw. So I chose this texto dango picture because that's what MadLibs are in French. And it's strange because I can't find them anymore. I've looked in Canada, I've looked online, I've looked in France, and maybe I'll find some at a garage sale this summer when I'm in France. But if you still have one, you could use this. You could actually take those stories and you might want to modify them for your students' needs. I know some Spanish teachers have access to them as well. I have never seen them in Japanese, but I bet the Japanese teachers could definitely come up with something fun for their students. When my students see this, they are going to be using their French names, okay? They've got their periods that they're, the class that they're in, and then they're going to write to me their Gmail because I need that to do the merge and get the email sent out to them. So this one is about going to the zoo, and I wanted to make it real easy, so I built a story for them. This is maybe a novice low. And I'm just going to double check to make sure that we're all good. Sorry about that. We have a Google Doc that I've put into the shared folder. So a bunch of teachers want to make these together, and I've already been sent one by Jennifer. So thank you, Jennifer. We'll be putting that together here pretty soon. Okay, so I wanted to make it pretty short because I don't want to overwhelm them with too much vocabulary. On this template that I wrote, okay, I wrote the whole thing out, the story, and I've got these little hash marks here, these little carets or whatever you want to call them. I'm just going to say brackets, and you notice there are 2 around my little term, and that term is going to be what they see here. So where it says number 1 animal, I've got here number 1 animal. I used a variety of tenses. I don't think that novices should be protected from any certain tense. They will figure it out. They'll ask you, they'll talk to their friends. I wanted to use a wide variety of adverbs, adjective, nouns. So basically a normal story. My goal maybe was a little bit more on the animals because we study those a lot in French 1 and how to describe them. So it says right now, today I went to the zoo with my class. Notice that I have both masculine and feminine listed. I like to have that so that the students can mark which one they prefer. They bought some peanuts. They saw some sort of animal that was enormous, and we'll look at that in a second. So they've got the whole story. They go through, and I put in some vocabulary for them so that if there's something that they don't understand, they see that. Okay, so they've got about 18 options. On this one, I also put some links and some videos because I wanted to give them a little bit more input. But for your first one, you don't need to do this. This one would take you to Jardin des Plantes, and the students could look at it. They might type in a 1-word or 2-word type of thing, or they might write a whole sentence. Okay, so that when they have that, they're going to have, I'm going to use Megan's from last time, okay, because I erased her email. They're going to have, after they fill out this and they hit submit down at the very bottom, submit right there, they're going to get the story sent to them. And the story will no longer have those little hashtags, those little brackets. They'll have their whole story. So the things that Megan chose when she was filling this out, I saw a cow that was jumping in its tree. So already we have the humor aspect, which gets kids, that's why we liked the MadLibs. We thought it was funny. We thought we could giggle. Okay, and I'm just going to stop. Let's see. He quickly danced through a long tunnel that led to his tiny little fauteuil. It's like an easy chair. I bought some peanuts and I offered them to an enormous lemur. So I bought a spicy ice cream, which, okay, that's fun. Unfortunately, it fell into the toilets. Okay, kids, potty humor is always good. We saw lots of wonderful things, but the thing that impressed me the most was a penguin because it hooted like a crazy person. So Megan chose penguin, She chose hooted, and she chose crazy person. And I really like that because they have the control of the options, but they don't know the story beforehand. So that's the little trick to making MadLibs, is that you don't know the story beforehand, so that when you get your version back, you can't guess how those words all fit together. So the students, after they're done, when they get their email, so this is going to go directly to their email because they provided it to you, and we'll show you about that in a few minutes. The students could share it, with the entire class. So if you have the class set up, your Google Apps for Education type thing, or if they want to share it with a partner or 5 partners, and then they can read each other's and then put some comments on it. They could sit and chat about it, or they could, look at someone else's story and say, I understood this. So they could show their reading comprehension of someone else's story. There's lots of great ways that you can make this an extra step up. It's not just getting this one story. What you add on to it is the speaking, the discussion, the reading, and the comments. So you do have some writing. Wonderful things. Now I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a second and go back because I'm really curious to make sure everything is going well this time. Let's go back to here. Those are actually quotation marks. Well, they're not the guillemets actually, because the guillemets I can make, let me show you that in a second. I mean, they look like them, of course, but they're just those little side carrots that you can do. And we'll put one on hers. And if you do the alt codes, you can, oops, that's a Spanish one, isn't it? So, those, but you don't want to use those when you're making your template. That's really important. These are actually the little arrows at the bottom by your question mark down on there. So that's a big thing, okay, as opposed to like that. So there's the difference. Okay, I'm glad we looked at that. Okay, so we have our form. That's where the students are going to choose their options. We have the template that I, as the teacher, created, and then they're going to get this. So that's how we're going to set this up today. I'm going to start my template over with a new story, and I chose my summer vacation. I wrote this one really quick. There was not a lot of like grammar involved with it. It was just a story I had available. So it's talking about last summer, my parents took me and someone to a country. It's very something there in this country. There's lots of nouns, of course. They produce a lot of this and that. And the local somethings really like to eat this type of food. So you notice I've got these numbers on there so that when I'm making my Google form, I'm going to be able to go 1. Okay, what is number 1? Number 1 is, okay, I need a person. So to start this off, we went to our Google Drive, and I'm going to go to the Voyage d'été. We went to New. We went to Google Forms. And I'm going to hit OK. I'm going to just do a fake one real quick. And this is the new Google Forms, which I do not like at all. So I always go back to the old forms, okay? Because this one, you can't change it as much, and I really like to create my own style. So here is the old Google Forms, and if you're already in the new Google Forms and you're used to it, please absolutely do that. I like mine to be, I like the white background. I don't want the purple on there. I want pictures. And you can do most of that in the new forms, but you can't change as much as you used to be able to. So to do that, you would go into, you can go into change theme. And I had already started changing the theme earlier. So I went in and I put in a different picture. So I uploaded a picture from my own personal drive that I put there earlier. So I went on and Google Images and I found a picture that I wanted to use. Okay, there it is, vacances. Okay, and I got that picture right here from a Google Images. Okay, here's the picture. Now I clicked on afficher l'image. I have it in French. So I want to copy this JPEG right there, this address. If you go from this or this, you might not get the right code that the Google form needs. So I saved that and actually just uploaded it. So there's that. And then I went through and I changed all the different fonts because we really do need to think about the students that have issues with reading. So if you choose something silly that's hard to read, like the Pacifico, okay, that just causes problems for them. I like to make sure that the font is, well, for the title, it's extra large. I usually choose the light purple, the dark purple color. So for my questions, I make sure that we've got the right color, and then I usually choose medium because if it gets any bigger, it gets a little overwhelming and takes up a lot of space. So I go through and I make sure all of my options and my questions are all set. And if there's a help text, like my students need some extra guidance, I usually put it in red. That way it catches their attention. Okay, so then I go through and I go to the page background. And on the page background, I just choose the white. So when you get it first, it's this blue color and it's got kind of stripes on it. I uncheck the tile and then I choose white and it looks a lot better. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. We started on my first question. I had built it. We're going to go back to edit questions. I'm going to stop sharing real quick and see what the questions are. Okay, she's got that set up. And then one other person is set up. I think we're good. Okay, so we'll go back and share the screen again. Go back. Okay, you can see me for a billion times. When we're editing our questions, I like to have my form, my template set up there so I see exactly what's going on. Okay, so I put the name first, because the first thing I want to know is I'm going to grab their names. Now, truthfully, in Google Forms, you could get that from the students being signed in, but I like to just have an extra copy. I like to see this everywhere. The next thing that I chose was their period, and I just put it here in French. You could put it in English. That's up to you. And it just makes sure that it's always a required question. So each time I did this, I just hit duplicate, duplicate, and then I duplicated it for each one, because if you have forgotten the required questions, the students can kind of jump over that. So for their name, I used a text. For their period, I just put in 3. You can use check boxes, and you can change that anytime if you wanted to make a multiple choice, okay? And then for the email, I went back to a text, okay? Now my first question, okay, so here, last summer, my parents took me and then we kind of went through our options on the first video. My grandmother, my uncle, my girl, my friend who's a girl, and my enemies. And that's fun. You know, you can make it something a little bit different so that your students, you could have the president of France. You could put a famous singer, like you could put Stromae. That would be fun. If you give them these options, they're going to be more interested in what's this story going to be and what is she building? Okay, so there's my first question. All I have to do is hit duplicate because we're going to be doing the same thing. So question number 2 is a place. So you need to change that so it says number 2. You can put lieu, okay, and then I usually put in the help test, lieu equals place. Now, you know, I could put Paris. I can put, let's say, Quebec. I could put Disneyland Paris, whatever I want to put. I'm just going to get rid of those 2 extras for right now. Usually 4 options is pretty good. Okay, so we go through and we add those options for each one, and we're going to find a country now. And here I can put, you know, I can introduce the idea of prepositions for places, so for masculine or feminine. So I'm going to put pays, and here I'll put pays equals country. I could also put it like that so that they see equals country. So now the question is en France, au Québec. If you keep doing that, you're going to start seeing these more and more often, and that's a lot of input. Okay, you might want to match it up. You might choose Paris, France, or you might want to put Paris, Quebec. That's up to the kids, and it might come out silly. That's something you will need to be okay with. All right, so now what's number 4? We need an adjective, and it's going to be something about the weather. So if I choose something, it should be something I can say that's going to be, let's go like this, adjective. Okay. So, and then I put describes a person, place, or thing. Just a quick little thing. When you add those little help texts, it's sort of subliminal messages for them. So you could put beau, you could put mauvais, you could put venteux. You know, however you want to introduce that type of vocabulary. Okay, let's do number 5. Number 5 is a noun. Okay, and there's lots of, and I'm going to make a plural noun. So lots of, you know, I like this one to be a little strange. So, you know, so there I would say person, place, thing. I could do this in French, of course. So there's lots of, let's put in something unusual like nuage. And I could also put that up here so my students know nuage is clouds. Because if they're beginners, they might not know that. There's lots of canard. Now they would know that because we would have studied animals. There's lots of cheese. Why not? This gives them a little bit of a weird story. So if you can add in a little bit each time. Okay, now we need to choose something that's going to be, we produce a lot of something that are something. So when we choose this, we want to make sure that our adjective and our nouns are going to agree. So either make them all masculine or all feminine. And hey, for every language, that doesn't pose a problem. So if I do this one, okay, what do they produce? Let's say they produce voiture. Let's make them feminine. Let's see what else. Let's put in vache. One more feminine thing, lampe. Okay. As you know, this is something I'm doing quick on the bum. Let's see. Let's put in adjective. Okay, and so we're going to put in, and we want to make sure these are ones that are going to be following the noun, not preceding. So we could do moche, if you want to be kind of funny. Fâché, which is interesting also because there you have an emotion. You're thinking, well, how could those be that? So maybe something that describes them. Inutile, like not useful. Put that in there for the students. Okay. One more thing. Let's see. Cassé. Cassé means broken. So we'll put that in there so that they learn that word. And like I said, you'll be using 4, which is fine. I usually offer 4 options, but to make this go by quick. Okay, so the next one, the locals, something, like to eat something. Let's see, the locals. So let's use no. Is that correct? Did I use no? Okay, so the local girls. Well, we need something masculine, so we'll say garçon. You're just typing in. Employé. Teachers. Always fun to make your teachers do something crazy. Okay, they like to really eat something, so we're going to put in here aliment. Put in nourriture to help them out. Get rid of that because we don't need it. So, okay, weird thing, tomate. Pizza. Do we need a feminine noun? That's good. And let's see, something funny to eat is, I'll think of something funny later. I want to go through this fast. Fromage, okay? And they are fier. They are very proud of their big. So this has a preceding adjective, and it's masculine. So we'll have to think of 3 things in here. So no. Let's say vélo, bikes. Of course, let's put in just livre. And we'll put in here bras. Because always bras, it means arms, but kids kind of think, ooh, bras, that's fun. Okay, they also like to, for number 10, excuse me, did I make a mistake? Number 7, that should be number 9. I'll fix that. in a second. Evidently, I missed one. Ha! Live. Okay, so we'll make that number 9. And I'll fix that in a little bit. Okay, so number 10 should be a verb à l'infinitif. Okay, so they like to manger, nager, lire, mourir. No, let's not put mourir. That's probably not a good idea. Frapper les, well, écouter musique. Now, you can decide. So they like to do this, and they like to swim in some type of water. So on the next one, let's put in coral. Okay. So we could put un lac, une piscine, l'océan. And something crazy, un étang. How about a pond? Okay. So what's our last one? We had a lot of fun, and it was okay, this has to be a masculine adjective because of voyage. So I'll go just on delete. Number 12, and we need adjective. So here we have some fun options. It was embêtant, like boring. Okay, stupid. Incroyable, do like 2 positives, 2 negatives, and intéressant. Can't remember if that takes an accent. Okay, so now we're done, correct? We've got our questions. Everything's been filled out. We made it down to number 12, although it's going to be a little weird. Okay, I'm going to stop the sharing just a second to see if there are any questions. Anything here or here? For right now, everything looks pretty good. Thank you. All right, let's go back. Okay, so that's how we set it up. We have to get our story done, and we have to have the Google form, and they kind of have to align. We're good with that. Once we're done, we can look at our form, and then we're going to send it out to our students. And that you could put it on Google Classroom. You could shorten the link with the URL with the goo.gl. You could push it out on your Schoology or your Edmodo. You could send it as an email to the kids. There are 500 ways to get this to the kids, but they'll figure it out because you'll help them. Okay, so let's go and look how we do that. We're done. We can go look at our form. Now, this is the basic one. If we didn't want to give them these options in here, we would have made this a text, and we would have put specifically what they need to put in. So if it was something that's an adjective, you would put in masculine, plural, feminine, plural, something that tells them what to do. I chose this one because it's the easiest. It's also just the quickness of it. The kids can go through and they don't get stumped. I think that was one thing that I noticed with the kids is that they're just worried about what it looks like. We're here it's giving them the confidence to just start it off. Okay. So the important thing is that you want to send this view form to them. You do not want to send them the editable form because they would change it. I've had that happen many times. So you can go to something like Google. goo.gl. Oops. Okay, there it is. And you can put your long URL in there. Okay, there's your form. And then if you go to details, you even have a QR code that you could give to the kids. So either that you send this whole long thing out to them by email and say, click on this form, that's up to you. So I'm going to fill this out really quick because we need at least one person, and I don't want to worry about that. And I'm going to put in my email account. Okay, and I'm just going to go through really quick and choose whatever. Hopefully the kids would take a little bit more time. If you had them in partners, you could put 2 names and 2 emails there, so they both get a copy of it, or they just share it with each other. Okay, so manger, piscine, and we'll make the other one stupid. Okay, so once we hit submit, there's good. Now, if I go over here, already, the view responses I had set up, there's my spreadsheet. And so all of those answers are going to be right there. So now we're ready for the next big step. And I'm going to close a few of these so we don't get confused. Okay. And check that there's no questions. It's kind of strange because you can see yourself looking at that. I'm going to close Megan's. So now the next part is we're staying out of the Google form. We're staying out of the template. We don't really need those anymore. And we're going to go to add-ons. Now, if you don't have Autocrat, you go to Get Add-ons. And an add-on is like a little script. It's like a little tiny program. And you type in Autocrat, just like that. And it's right here. And since I already have it, it says Manage. But you would click on Free and Install, and that would take care of it for you. This only shows up when you're in Google Sheets. So this won't be in your form. It won't be on your template. It's only when you have your first answer and you go to View Responses. So once you do that, it'll make the sheet for you. Okay. So now that we're in our sheet, we want to go to add-ons. We want to start the launch. Okay. And they just switched this one up. I played with this all yesterday to make sure that it works somewhat perfectly. If we have any issues, we'll work through it together. So Autocrat's job is to take this template and these answers and merge them together. It says no merge job setup. So we're going to do a new job. And I'm going to go with just naming it something quick like vacances. Okay. Now you want to hit next. Now it's going to ask, whoa, I need a template. So you could create one, but it's just better to go grab the one that we already made. It's in our drive. We can find it as, let's see, vacances d'été right there. You can search for it. If you remember the name, it's right up there. Okay, so select. Okay, and then we hit next. It's going over to the template and looking for all those little hash marks. So this is where we're going to marry the two, the spreadsheet and our template. What we want to know is when it finds this word non, what on our sheet here is that lining up to? And so of course it is non. That helps. Period. You click on it and choose the right one. So we're just mapping them. We're putting this one equals that one. Okay, so there's email. And that's why I said when we number them, look, there's personne, there's lieu. Now I know that's, of course, country, pays. Okay, so that's number 3. You go through each one and you line it up. Oops. I need to scroll down a second. Okay, noun. Number 5. Number 6. Make sure we're right. 7 is an adjective. That's where I did it wrong. Okay, so this should be another noun, and that would be number 8. And that might be a little problem because I clicked a little bit too fast, but we know that food is number 9. And then we have, after that is a noun, and that's where I figured it out. Number 10, verb, water. Okay, and then adjective. Let's scroll down a little bit. Okay, so now we're good. All of these are now lined up with this and mapped out on here. That's the big step. Okay. We want to produce this as a multiple document, meaning that each student is going to get a copy, and you are going to get a copy of theirs as well. I have not done them to the single document yet. I'm going to look into that. The file name, tell Autocrat how to do that. So we want to name it Vacances d'été. And I'm okay with putting the accents. And then I want to put the student's name on it so I know which file it is. So I'm going to choose their name. When you do this, you click on nom and it copies it, and then you hit Control Paste. And that's a little weird, so I'll do it again. You just click on it. It doesn't automatically put it over there, so you just hit Control V and you get it up there. So I'll take it off. Okay. I'll show you what that looks like, because when you get Okay, so here's Barber, Kelly, Texto Dingozoa. So I put the name first. Maybe that's a better idea. That way you can organize them better. So I'm going to go cut that out of there, put their name, and get rid of my colon. Okay, so now I'm going to have their last name, their first name, and the name of the story they wrote. Okay, so let's do next. Where is this going to go? You have set up a folder just for that one so that all the responses go right there. Okay, so Voyage d'été, perfect. So now all the documents that are generated, the students will get a copy, you'll get a copy, and they'll go to one place so you're not searching for them. Okay. We don't need to worry about dynamic folder reference. Believe me, that is optional, and those are for larger jobs. There's no merge condition that we need. Honestly, you're set. Now it says share docs and send emails. Yes, I do want to do that. And I would like to give them, there's a couple options. We could build it so it's a view-only doc so the students couldn't change anything. That's important if you're using it maybe as an assessment. I like to have it editable, or they could just put comments on it. Anyone with the link can view, or a PDF. And I leave that up to you, but I do like the editable doc. Okay. Allow collaborators to reshare. That's up to you if they're trying to keep like cheating down. I don't know if that would be an issue, but I just leave it yes. Send from generic, no reply. Okay, what that means is the kids are going to get an email, and I would be doing this in my school Gmail. What says from C. Uslan from my school address. Right now it says only available for Google Apps account, not Gmail users. Since I'm in my Gmail account, I can't do that, so I'm just going to leave it no. Okay, so just scroll down a little bit. This is where we're sending the email to our student, and we know their email because it's right there. So we click on this little blue thing, we paste it, email. You could send yourself a copy by putting in your email, but since you're already getting a copy in your Google Drive, you don't need that because you would have 70,000 emails. Okay. The subject, I usually put in vacances d'été, so the student knows what it is. Okay, and then I say bonjour, voici l'histoire que vous avez, voilà, tu as écrite. Something really quick. Okay. Good. I scroll all the way down. So now what we've done is we're saying we're sending a shareable doc to our students who can reshare it if they want. That we're sending it to their email. So that little blue that highlights right there, we got just by clicking on it just once and then coming over and hitting Control V. Okay. We're good with that. Hit no. Okay. So the add remove triggers. How do I want this generated? Do I want it to be, do I want that email to go to them every time they fill out their form? I'm going to say yes, because I don't want to have to come back into Autocrat and redo this setup each time. So I'm going to do it, click yes, and anytime someone submits, it will be generated automatically. When you do that, okay, just went through a little process. It says run on a time trigger. You could do that where it says run every hour, every 2 hours. I don't want to even have to worry about this. So I just do it run on form trigger. When anyone hits submit, it will produce that document for them. Okay, I'm all done. So I hit save. I should name my job. Okay, I'm going to name it again, vacances. That's a bingo. You can name it anything you want. Hit save. Okay. So now it has everything that it needs. It knows where the document's going. It knows what kind of document it is. And when I'm ready, and I think this is good, I could always edit it if I think I made a mistake. So I could go through and check, or if there's some way that I mismapped, okay? But I'm good. So you can edit it before you run it. And you can also preview it to see, make sure that it looks right to you. It's going to take a second. AutoCAD is not really fast, but here we can go for preview job details. So it will show you what the students are going to receive. You can trash this if you think you did it all wrong and have to call Catherine up. Hopefully her microphone works. But I'm ready. I want to run this. And I only have to do this once because I said every time from now on, I want this to automatically generate it. So it goes through a little process where it goes and tells you, okay, we've started this, we're on to that. Okay, gives you a second. And I'm going to go to my Gmail. Hopefully there's nothing too crazy popular private in there. Okay. Let's go back to my sheet. It says one row will be merged. Well, that's because only one person has filled this out, me. And now it's done. And what I'll need to do is just go, there it is, right there. That's how quick it is. And now anytime someone submits on this, it'll go automatically. So all I have to do is click on this. And there's my name. I'm in period 2. There's my mail. And there's my story. Okay. Woo! Hopefully, I explained that better. So let's go back to the mirror. Hello. I know on that first time, the setup seems a little bit intense, but I've done this so many times that it's just quick. It's pretty easy. And you've got this video to help you. And I can help you by, either Skype or just email or however you want. I love the flexibility that we're going to be giving our writers and our readers. Either we make it multiple choice or we make it fill in. How do you want to do it? You could do some of each. You could make some multiple choice. You could make some fill in the blank. That's depending on how well your students feel with that. The first time my students got their stories that they made, they were 4 paragraphs. This is just a real quick one. It was my French 2 students. They talked about their healthy lifestyles. They were so amazed that they had written this whole story. And I said, well, actually, you and I wrote it together. I set up the template, and then you put in the information. And that does show that they can choose vocabulary chunks. You could even put in short little sentences in there instead of just one word. I think then the next time I asked them to write, I said, how about you take your composition that you wrote with me, your composition that we did on the Google form, and you pull out some stuff from there, and then you start writing. And they said, well, I've got these 4 paragraphs. I can pull out this, I can pull out this. And that gave them more confidence. Okay, there's where I'm going for, is to get our students to be not terrified. When they see all these words in front of them, there's a lot of French, and it's French they understand, and it's French that they chose. So, okay, maybe I can write. It's my hope. There are so many different follow-up activities you can do with this. I will, put some more information out online. I do hope that I've done better on this. I'm clicking around just to see if there's any questions. Okay. I hope I didn't lose too many people either. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing my thing. Hello. There's 4 viewers. I await any questions you want to ask me. There is that chat box. Also, I think I can give you a way to do the question answer on the side. It says, ask your questions by selecting one from the list. I'm watching, I can hear you. Oh, thank you for starting over. Thank you. Jennifer, thank you. Okay. If you see that, okay, there should be on this side, if you have any questions. If not, you know that I'm always on Facebook. As the Technology Commission chairperson for the ATF, I'm always trying new ideas out. And you can find me on Facebook. You can find me on Twitter. I'm at KatherineKU72. I'm first 5 pages of Google. Normally, I do a much better presentation when my microphone was working. I think you're going to have a lot of fun with this, but when you get stuck, you need to ask for help or play around with it. It's not going to break. The first 2 or 3 times I did this, it was a little annoying, but I'm used to it now, and I feel like I can just push things out to my students. They figure it out, and they get the story written for them, and then they're able to write more stories. I don't see any other questions. I'm going to go back to the one page. Okay, none there. None there. And then I'm going to check my email because maybe you sent me an email. No. Oh, thank you so much, Melissa. She's doing some extra work on that from the California Language Teachers Association. Okay. I've done my part. I would like you to play around with it this week. I will be at the TEL conference in Austin. So that's the Teacher Effective Learning conference that's going on with Thomas Sauer. And if you want any extra training, I will probably do this video again because I feel a little bad that I didn't get everything set up exactly as it was planned. After that, I'm going to be at the AATF conference in Austin, Texas. So from June 30th to I think the 6th. So if you stalk me down, I will help you out. You bring your computer and we'll sit down and work on it. After that, we can do a Google Hangout, just you and I can grab your screen or you can grab mine and we can work on that. So thank you very much. I'm going to stop the broadcast in just a few seconds if there's no other questions. I hope that you're having a great vacation. I'm going to be working diligently trying to get more of our wiki set up for you. So that's my last thing I'm going to share. Let's go over here. So if you're a French teacher especially, well, if you're a French teacher, I want to point some things out to you. We have our French teaching resource wiki. It's by the ATF for the Technology Commission. I have organized it with IPAs, everything that you need. So there's a whole bunch of them for all the different AP themes, but it's not always AP level. We have listening, again, writing and oral expression activities, and I don't think anyone's put any in because I just set this one up. We have all sorts of music that you'd like to see. If you're using a textbook, we put in the Bien dit, the Discovering French and T'es branché. We have more with the themes. So you have all sorts of lessons and units and resources. There's videos, there's PDFs, there's articles. There's even more. It goes down and down and down. If you are interested in participating on this, you join the wiki. It's on Wiki Spaces, and then you send a request and I'll approve you. I'll put you in as a member. I would like you to start looking at these wonderful teachers who blog about what they're doing in their classes, because I'm not the one that always comes up with the ideas. I definitely have been connecting on Twitter. Lisa Shepard, of course, is amazing. And Heather just started this new website where she's going to be putting all sorts of authentic resources. You can look at that one. So basically Google ATF French Teaching Resources or French Teaching Resources.wikispaces. There's all sorts of things that the ATF does. So I'm on the Technology Commission. We have our YouTube playlists, which I've been working on for about 5 years. So there's thousands of videos that I've watched. They're organized by thematic units or by topics or just not random, but like publicité or ads. Okay, there's that other person. The other thing that we have is a remarkable Pinterest. And the Pinterest has been growing in leaps and bounds over the past couple of years. We have 505 pins. And again, I've organized them by AP themes or by different topics. If you want to be a participant on this board, as in you'd like to contribute, I can make you a moderator and you can help me build more. Things like the film court métrage, that's really remarkable because teachers are asking, what can I show to my students and how do I set it up? Well, there's a dossier pédagogique for each one of these. So when you click on it, you go right to the dossier pédagogique plus some way to get to the film. Okay, so that's set up for you. Okay, that's on our Pinterest. We also have the French reviews dossier pédagogique. That is set up by the ATF and the French review, so the scholarly publication. But these are all free, and these are wonderful resources for you to use in your class. There are completely ready to go unit plans with films. Or I think they also have been using geographic ideas or history. So you need to look at that. One more thing. So you're going to click on Resource. We have our Twitter and our Facebook, and I would love it if you don't have to be an ATF member, but I would love for you to follow us on Facebook and Twitter. I post things all the time about what's going on culturally, historically. What we've got is all sorts of people contributing. Let's get rid of that, shall we? Okay, so I'm posting things on there, plus resources for you. So here are some infographics. Okay, so I've shown you everything that the AATF does. Hoping that you're a member. I'm hoping that you'd like to participate. If there's anything I can do to help you with this technology that we worked on today or other technology, you know how to find me now. You have my website that has technology resources for world language teachers because I just wanted to add on to your life. Okay. And of course, I wasn't sharing my screen that whole time. So here's my website. And then here is the blog. I'm going to show you the blog real quick because I wasn't sharing my screen. The IPAs are right here. So those are ones that Lisa Shepard and I and a couple of other teachers have been working on. If you wanted to go study the défis mondiaux. Okay. And there are tons and tons of resources. Just pick the interest category. You have more things. So if you're using a textbook, it's right up there. All right, I'm going to say that this has been a crazy day, and I hope that you've learned a few things. And I'm going to redo this video on my own, and I'll make it like step-by-step perfect. But thank you so much. I hope you have a great afternoon. It's 2:29 in the Pacific Northwest. It's cloudy as usual because it's January. So bonnes vacances et à plus tard. Merci.